Good evening, I'm David Brown and welcome to the Northern Sun Experience. Last weekend it was the NSIC men and this week it's the women who took aim on the green. Just like the men, the Women's Golf Championship switched from last year's fall-spring 4-round format into a 3-round weekend. Let's head out to Morton, Minnesota and Dakota Ridge Golf Club. And once again, great weather for the tournament from April 21st through the 23rd. NSIC 2 for 2 in that department. On the course, Concordia St. Paul's Savannah Stone nails this long birdie putt on 7. She was the individual leader after the first 2 rounds, but last year's individual medalist would not be denied. Augustana's Callie Troutman comes from behind and takes home first place for the second straight year, shooting a total of 223, 7 over par. And not only did she finish in first, her Vikings teammates took 3 of the next 4 places, so Augustana had 4 of the top 5 finishers overall. That effort led to the Vikings' record 8th consecutive golf championship as a team, and afterwards Troutman credited making practice seem like a tournament in the week leading up to the championships.
We tried to play a few more times leading up to the tournament. We've only been playing outside for about a month, so it's been a lot of practice on the range, on the putting green, whereas this week before we tried to play a little bit more and just prepare because you have to play good golf for 3 days plus a practice round, and so you just get exhausted. So we just really tried to work on keeping the endurance up and playing a little bit more.
Troutman, as I mentioned, is your individual medalist for the second straight year with a 7 over 223. Viking teammate Emily Israelson is second at 9 over 225. Israelson actually shot the best round of the entire tournament on Sunday with an even par 72. Concordia St. Paul's Savannah Stone is the only non-Viking in the top 5, finishing third. She's tied with Augustana Sierra Langley. Hannah Hankinson rounds out the women's individual leaderboard. As far as team results are concerned, Augustana wins for the 8th year in a row, shooting a combined 903, 39 over par. Minnesota State was in second place, a full 52 shots behind, with a 955, 91 over par. Concordia St. Paul, Winona State, and Minot State are 3, 4, and 5 respectively. The field for NCAA regionals will be announced on May 1st. And while those competitors won't be announced for a few days, a former national participant who had a storied golf career at Southwest Minnesota State is still helping athletes today. It's the first of our 2 Under the Northern Sun Campus Alumni Features.
Laura Lundbohm Hulsebus was a 4-year letter winner at Southwest Minnesota State from 2000 to 2004. Hulsebus, a Roseau, Minnesota native, talks about her time spent on campus as a student athlete.
The nice thing about Southwest is coming from a small community in high school and entering Marshall, the college felt very welcoming and friendly. You almost feel like part of the family in the athletic department. Everybody knows your name, and if you had a question or a concern, you could go to people within the athletic department. The university was always great because you know where you are on campus, you feel secure. The tunnels, if you don't want to go out in the windy weather, the community involvement at the university was great too. So working as a waitress in town, it was fun to see other people in the community as well as at Southwest events. Marshall has a great country club, and I think we were all lucky to play there, and the members welcome the college students to come play, and I think that is probably some of my favorite memories are on the course in Marshall because it's such a beautiful facility and great practice grounds to play on. And as far as college memories, I think there are so many to name, but I feel honored to be in the Hall of Fame now and that sort of thing. So I feel like it's been fun to see the college grow with athletics as well.
In the spring of her freshman season in 2001, Hulsebus became the first SMSU individual to qualify for the NCAA championships, earning a 26th place finish. She finished tied for 22nd in 2003 when she returned to Nationals for the second time in her career.
Nationals was neat. I think I was probably more nervous playing in regionals to qualify because you get to Nationals, you're like, I'm here. I'm sure it'd be great to play well and finish in the top portion of the group of athletes, but it was more of like, I'm here, let's just enjoy it. But yeah, the first tee was a little nerve-wracking, but you just try and make the best of it and not think about it too much when you're up there teeing it up.
In the spring of 2004, Hulsebus, a 4-time All-NSIC honoree, 3-time NSIC Player of the Year, and 2-time NCAA qualifier, graduated from SMSU as one of the most decorated student athletes with a degree in biology and chemistry. After graduation, Helsebus attended Northwestern Health Services University's College of Chiropractic and now owns and operates Helsebus Chiropractic in St. Peter, Minnesota.
I enjoy being a chiropractor. I come to work every day to help people feel better, whether it's adjusting their back or neck or working on some exercises to rehab their spine. I think it's very rewarding to see people coming in hurt and walking out feeling better, and that's something I enjoy working with every day.
Helsebus capped her Mustang career by leading SMSU to a 4th straight NSIC title and was named the Minnesota State Collegiate Golf Association Player of the Year and became the first SMSU individual to earn National Golf Coaches Association Honorable Mention All-American honors. The 6-time career medalist and 2015 SMSU Hall of Honor inductee gives this piece of advice to future Mustangs.
I think what's important for freshman athletes, golfers to know going into college is that don't be afraid to ask someone for help or support if you're looking for some advice or have questions that need to be answered. Worrying about it isn't going to get you any further ahead, and working on time management and just kind of staying focused on if you're practicing your golf, practice your golf. If you're studying for an exam, study for your exam. Don't get too disconnected from the focus.
When we come back, Augustana showed what they could do on the course, but how they do on the court. Highlights from the NSIC Women's Tennis Championships next.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
And welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. Heading into this weekend, the Augustana golf team had won 7 consecutive conference titles and finished the weekend with 8. The Augustana tennis team had won 6 consecutive conference titles in their sport, and we're hoping to end the weekend with 7. Let's head out to Lifetime Fitness in Minnetonka, Minnesota. Augustana swept their quarterfinal and semifinal matchups 5-0 to advance to the championship match against Winona State, and the undefeated streak would continue for Augustana in the combo singles doubles tournament. The Vikings sweep the Warriors 5-0 in the championship. That means Augustana, when it combined 15-0, did not drop a single match over the course of the weekend. The Vikings earned an automatic berth in the NCAA tournament, and players and coaches discussed the significance of winning a 7th consecutive conference title.
We graduated a couple seniors last year, and to get 4 new freshmen on a tennis team that's a small-sized team, it was kind of a different dynamic, and it took a while for us to kind of mesh together and get everything figured out, including our doubles teams, but we turned it around and we got things figured out, and culminates, I guess, in a championship.
I think it gets more special every year, honestly. It's so exciting coming to conference and just keeping this tradition alive. So I think it feels even better now.
We work hard every day to get this accomplished, and we've learned from the people before us kind of how to do it, and it's really awesome having them here today to be with us and the alumni who are here to share with us.
As far as the Central region is concerned, Augustana found out its fate on Tuesday night, and the Vikings earned the 7 seed. They'll travel south to face the number 2 seed Southeastern Oklahoma State on May 1st. Well, some exciting news for us here at Midcoast Sports Network. In a partnership with the NSIC, we're expanding our coverage of the conference starting in the 2017-2018 season. And that includes the introduction of the brand new NSIC Thursday Night Football Game of the Week, which will air at 7 p.m. All 16 NSIC schools will be represented over the course of the 11-week schedule, starting on August 31st with Minot State at Concordia St. Paul. September 7th will see Southwest Minnesota State at MSU Moorhead. The 14th features Wayne State at Minnesota Crookston. September 21st is UMary at Upper Iowa. And we close out September with St. Cloud State at Minnesota Duluth on the 28th. Moving to October, Northern State at Minot State is on the 5th. The 12th features Sioux Falls at Wayne State. On October 19th, Minnesota State battles Southwest Minnesota State. October 26th will feature NSIC North Foes Minnesota Duluth and Bemidji State. We close out the season with UMary at Northern State on November 2nd and Augustana at Winona State on November 9th. In addition to Thursday Night Football, Midco SN will also broadcast 8 Saturday afternoon NSIC games over the course of the season. And starting in 2018, our coverage of the NSIC Basketball Championships will expand from the Sanford Pentagon in Sioux Falls. In addition to Semifinal Monday and Championship Tuesday, which Midco has broadcast since 2014, we are now adding quarterfinal Saturday and Sunday to our live game schedule. That's an additional 8 games, bringing our total to 14 basketball games over 4 days. We look forward to bringing you more of the best conference in Division II starting next year. Well, when we come back, what's better than being perfect? How about being extra perfect? How one Minnesota State softball player redefined perfection next. Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. We've got 1 week until the conference softball championships, and certain players are coming up clutch down the stretch for their respective teams. And the NSIC honorees this week set brand new records for their respective teams. The NSIC Player of the Week is UMary's Taylor Mendez. The senior hit .600 this past week, going 9 for 15 with 4 doubles, a triple, a home run, 5 RBI, and 7 runs scored. The Marauder also slugged .727 while setting a new UMary record with her 48th career home run. And if you're feeling deja vu, that's normal, as the NSIC Pitcher of the Week for the 2nd week in a row and the 5th time this season is Minnesota State's Coley Ries. And it's safe to say that despite all of her accolades this season, this week's award is easily her most deserving, as she pitched 2 perfect games. Yes, 2 perfect games in back-to-back games on back-to-back days against Northern State and MSU Moorhead. Overall, Ries went 3-0 last week with a 0.00 ERA. She's won 12 consecutive starts, leads the NSIC with 304 strikeouts, and has a remarkable 23-2 overall record. Here's some highlights from her first perfect game against Northern State, and it didn't really matter if it was swinging or looking. Ries had the Wolves hitters off all day long. She had 15 strikeouts, and with 2 outs in the 7th, she gets Jenna Helgeson looking to complete the perfect game and get a 4-0 win for the Mavericks. As for the very next day, Ries somehow topped that perfect game with 15 strikeouts by throwing a perfect game with 18 strikeouts. She gets Carly Williamson swinging in the top of the 7th, and then Madison Page looking to end it. 14 consecutive perfect innings, 33 total strikeouts, and 42 possible outs altogether. Quite simply the most dominant pitching performance the NSIC has ever seen. Ries and the Mavericks will be heavy favorites next week at the conference championships in Sioux Falls. When we come back, our second Under the Northern Sun Alumni Feature showcases Upper Iowa. Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience, where it's time once again to name 2 new members to the NSIC's 25th anniversary team. Congrats to former Concordia St. Paul athlete Jennifer Pisani. A 2-sport star for the Golden Bears, Pisani was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year and 2005 Tournament MVP in basketball, and a 2-time first-team selection in both basketball and softball. Congrats are also in order for former St. Cloud State track star Heather Miller. One of the most decorated multi-event athletes of her era, Miller was a 10-time Division II All-American, broke 10 Husky records, and was the 2010 national champion in the pentathlon. Miller also qualified for the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio in the heptathlon. Well, earlier we showed you how a former SMSU golfer was helping athletes through physical therapy. In our next Under the Northern Sun Alumni Feature, meet a former Upper Iowa wrestler also helping athletes, but a little closer to home.
In March 2014, Carl Broghammer was named the Wrestler of the Year in the Northern Sun Conference. Upper Iowa's 4-year starter at 197 pounds broke the program record for career wins, ending with 142, including 53 by fall. After becoming an All-American as a freshman, he was named the NSIC's Rookie of the Year. Carl claimed his 2nd and 3rd All-American honors as a junior and senior, and earned 4 NWCA Academic All-American honors as well.
I guess if I had to sum it up in one word, it'd be awesome. It was amazing. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. I had great coaches. I had great facilities, and you know, if there's anything we ever needed or wanted, you know, someone tried to do the best to get us what we needed. As far as competition-wise in the Northern Sun Conference, I think we had a really tough conference, and we saw great competition. You know, we had some really good battles, and you know, that just creates great wrestling matches and great opportunities and great memories.
Every coach, you know, ideally wants that intrinsically motivated student athlete, which can come and become infectious, becomes an obvious leader, and that's what Carl was. He was obviously driven, motivated intrinsically, and so it definitely allowed him to be a leader maybe early on in his career.
I had a few injuries, a couple surgeries, one during the summer, one during the year. And I guess I kind of let those get to me, and I use them as an excuse to not perform, or maybe, you know, it's the reason I lost this match because my knee hurt or my shoulder hurt. When I finished 5th at regionals, I just kind of realized that, you know, it wasn't an excuse. It was just me being, you know, weak or not mentally strong. And I realized that, and I had a lot of time to think about it over the spring and the summer, and then all through the next year. Like, I'm not going to let that happen again. So anytime I had a little tweak, I tried my best to mentally overcome it, physically overcome it.
You know, we're all thinking that he's the most winningest wrestler at Upper Iowa. You know, he was the freshman wrestler of the year in the NSIC, and Amateur Wrestling News had him as the top-ranked 190-pound freshman on the all-rookie team, all divisions. He was the NSIC, you know, wrestler of the year to end his career on. So a lot of ups, but the resolve came, you know, at the national tournaments and rebounding from goals not met by being the national champion. And nothing epitomizes that more than after that, you know, sophomore year regional tournament where, you know, he's ranked high in the nation, you know, maybe number 2 at the time, and he's coming off a 3rd place finish as a freshman, and he gets upset. And that was a shocker. And to you know, kids then get an opportunity to go one of 2 ways. You know, they can start to plateau and say, this is the way it is. I don't control all these events. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to figure it out. I'm not going to put myself in the same spot again. And Carl really, I think, used that as more fuel for the fire. And his fire burned pretty hot all the time, and that only just erupted into a volcano in those last couple of years.
My fondest memory of being a Peacock wrestler, I think back to that match against St. Cloud. It was for the conference title, and Coach Grimm did some bumping up with our 84-pounder to 97. He bumped me up to heavyweight, and that was, I believe it was number 1 97-pounder against number 1 heavyweight in D2. And you know, I was pretty jacked up. I jump out, and the crowd was, everyone was standing. I believe every seat was filled, and not one person was standing. It was just an amazing feeling, you know. And that's kind of my biggest memories of looking back. I love those home duels. You had the hometown crowd, and you know, they always came out. We always drug a good crowd out, and it really got you fired up for your matches.
I think Carl starts, you know, now in year 3 and 4 of coaching to understand that it's more than just finding the intrinsically motivated athlete. You got to work with what you have, and to try to get the most out of them, you might have to start to, you know, attack guys differently, you know, mentally and physically. You just can't go in there and just, you know, beat guys up and think that they're going to have that resolve like he had to you know, to catapult him to success.
It's a wonderful feeling. Going through as a Peacock wrestler myself, I got so many great memories, you know, lifelong memories I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. And knowing that I'm going to have those memories for the rest of my life, I just want these other guys to have that same feeling, create them, help them create memories, and you know, achieve their goals. Whether it's an All-Americanship, academic All-Americanship, or a national title. You know, I really get enjoyment now out of it. Now I can no longer compete myself. I get enjoyment out of helping them achieve their goals and their lifelong memories.
And speaking of Upper Iowa, the Peacocks got a facelift. Upper Iowa introduced its new logo last week. You can see it on the right, old one on the left for contrast. So congrats to Upper Iowa for your new plumage. When we come back, baseball highlights from around the NSIC.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midcoast Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. While the NSIC Softball Championships are next week, we're still 2 weeks away from the Conference Baseball Championships. Several teams are still jockeying for position, and key players are stepping up. The NSIC Player of the Week is Augustana's Chris Ashland. The slugger hit .450 last week, going 9 for 20, including 4 home runs in the Vikings series against Concordia St. Paul. Ashland drove in 15 runs while scoring 9 himself. He leads the NSIC in home runs with 14 and leads the league with 43 RBI in conference play. Augustana is currently second in the conference standings. The NSIC Pitcher of the Week is St. Cloud State's Dominic Austing. The sophomore pitched a 9-inning complete game against Minnesota Crookston with 12 strikeouts, a record for a Husky pitcher this season. St. Cloud State is currently third in the conference standings. The team that's on top of the standings is Minnesota State, and they took on Bemidji State this weekend. No score top of the third inning, and the Beavers showing off some defense. Catcher Gunnar Olszewski picks off Tyler Berg at first. Great play to end the frame. Not to be outdone, Mavericks with a little defense in the bottom of the third inning. Tommy McDonald to Luke Waldeck to Dylan Driesel, 4-6-3 double play, and we remain scoreless. Still 0-0 in the fifth when Minnesota State finally breaks through. Waldeck smacks a chopper through the left side of the infield. McDonald scores from second on the RBI single. The runner is thrown out at third after the overthrow, but it's 1-0 Mavericks. Beavers even things up in the sixth. Olszewski goes opposite field to right for a base hit. Ryan Rumpka scores from third and nods things up at 1 apiece. But in the seventh inning, Minnesota State takes the lead for good. Noah Bluth with a sharp hit over the left fielder's head. McDonald scores his second run of the game, 2-1 at that point, and that would be your final score. The Mavericks would go on to sweep the Beavers in 4 straight games and maintain their lead at the top of the NSIC baseball standings. Once again, a thank you to all of our NSIC member schools for their time, video, and contributions to this week's show. Tune in next week right here for yet another Northern Sun Experience.